at RAGT 24 with the amazing RaeAnne Thayne. I am so glad you're here again.
Oh, I'm so thrilled to be here. I loved it when I came 2 years ago and absolutely thrilled to be back.
That's awesome. I'm so glad. We were just talking about you had a tonsillectomy. Oh my gosh. And so to try to talk now after that still, as long as we don't make you talk too long, you're okay?
I'm fine. Yeah, it's been almost 2 months. And so I'm
that's
surviving.
Yeah, I remember seeing the pictures online. Oh my gosh. Well, with you talking about it, you know, I didn't see your tonsils. But
you wouldn't have wanted to before or after.
Yeah. Does it feel better overall health-wise?
Overall, it feels better. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really feel bad. I just had one that was weird and they wanted to biopsy, but everything was fine with it. So everything's fine and I've survived. I'm through it and was nothing I would recommend, nothing I want to repeat ever again. But fortunately, I only have 2 tonsils and they're gone. So
were you able to write while you were going through
For
that?
2 weeks, I pretty much did nothing but eat popsicles. But, you know, after that, I was fine. Everything was okay.
It's hard to write when you're in misery.
It is really hard when you don't feel good.
Your brain doesn't want to concentrate on it.
Really, it doesn't. And when you're sick, all you want to do is just kind of survive and get through it and
do whatever gives comfort and, like you say, popsicles.
And I would say it took a month before I could really eat much besides soft foods, you know, because it really just would get caught and it hurt. And, it wasn't very fun.
It sounds horrible.
We're through it now. We're not going to focus on it anymore.
Like I said, my 19-year-old son had that done. And I thought it was horrible for him. So I can't imagine being an adult woman. Yeah. And when I was 19, I felt like an adult. These days, I don't feel like a 19-year-old.
Well, I would say as women, we can deal with pain a little more than 19-year-old boys can.
Yeah.
That's kind of our life, you know.
He held up pretty good. But it was, we get used to it a little bit quicker. So we asked readers some questions. And one of them was, tell us about your new release, 15 Summers Later.
Well, this is 15 Summers Later.
Beautiful cover, by the way. I love the soft, peachy tones on there. It's really pretty.
It's a very, very pretty cover. It's a little bit different for me, and that's what some of the reviews that are coming in have said. It's a little different departure because it's a pretty dark story that the girls... There's 2 sisters, and they survived kind of some difficult things in their youth. One of them, they're now adults, and one of them has written a memoir about what they went through. The other one is not happy that this memoir's out there, and everyone is knowing about everything that happened to them. And so it's kind of it's 2 sister stories about kind of how they heal their relationship after, you know, they've time and experience has sort of split them apart through the years. They were extremely close while all these things were happening to them, but life has sort of split them apart, and it's how they come back together. And of course, there are romances because I write romance novels. That's what I love. And
I say it's like our bread and butter. It's what we enjoy. Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know. People have asked me, would you ever change genres? And no, because I love writing romance. That's the stories of my heart. It's the stories I've always loved to tell. It's the stories I love to read. I just don't see, there will always be romantic elements in my story, but this is very much more of a little darker history, but still very much my kind of story where it's feel good, uplifting, hopeful kind of story.
Yeah, it sounds wonderful. Is it out? It's not quite out yet.
It comes out on the 18th.
That's what I was thinking. It wasn't quite out yet. Yeah.
I don't think they'll have copies here, unfortunately. But.
Oh, bummer. So close.
I know. I'm like, come on, push it by a week and a half. But.
Right, I know. I had to make them push mine up. Well, I didn't make them. I begged. Push mine up just a little bit because mine was really close, too, and they managed to do it. But so when you say you don't want to write another, do you write any other subgenres, or have you ever?
I did romantic suspense for a long time.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, because I started out when I wrote category romance. I did all of my early books, probably my first 20, 30 books were more edgy romantic suspense. And then I sort of realized I was really loving the small town that I created in these they were edgy books, but they were all kind of set in small towns. And I was really loving that community that I was building. So my voice sort of shifted a little bit to writing those. So I may at some point go back and do a little more romantic suspense. I still love those. I still love adding those elements in. It's, you know, after you've written so many that are not suspensey, it's kind of fun to do that because you realize how much that pushes the plot forward instead of just the romance and the relationships and the angst pushing the plot forward. You've got all these external elements that are really fun to bring in. So I do like that. I love to read historicals. That's my favorite genre to read.
Me too.
But I would never write it because then I wouldn't enjoy reading it as much. And so I think it would take away my happy place.
I feel like historical romance would be so much research and study and I'm so impressed with anybody that writes historical romance, and I love it so much.
Yeah.
But I don't have the talent or the research ability or the knowledge to write it. They could tell me anything in a historical romance, and I'd believe it because I don't really know what happened. So
But don't you think we read so much of it that we absorb it? There are elements of it that we absorb, and we understand when we're reading something, we're like, that's not how they would do that, or something like that. Just because, that's what I started reading when I started reading romance. It was in my early teens, and so for so many years I've been reading it and I understand the world building. And so when I read something that's discordant, or anachronistic or whatever, then I'm like, that pulls me out of the story a little bit. So I think we absorb it more than we think we do. So the research wouldn't be maybe as detailed as we think, but I wouldn't.
I read I read all historical, but Regency romance. And there'll be one where a woman was caught looking at a guy and she's ruined. And then there's one where the woman's out dallying around in the garden and it's okay because her dad's a duke or something.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, what's true here? I don't know. I'd want to be the one that can dally with a duke and get by with it.
Right.
I'm reading one right now, and it's Scottish clans and lairds, and I just want to say, thank God it was time for her yearly bath because we got to the good part, and I thought, whoo, I'm so glad they decided it was time for the yearly bath.
Right. That's the other thing. I hope they brush their teeth.
I know they never do. They're eating fish and cheese, and then they go to bed, and and I'm like, oh, somebody clean your teeth. It's like it requires a little bit of
you have to jump. There's a leap.
They didn't have teeth at that point. It's okay.
They probably didn't.
Yeah.
I did. I heard that they used to give women a gift before they got married of false teeth because it was so much cheaper for their husbands not to have to deal with dental issues through the years. So they would have all their teeth extracted and their fathers would give these women a gift of their false teeth.
See, is that true? I don't know. I don't want to know that. I just like when they always brag because they've got all their teeth. And I'm like, yes, she's got all her teeth. It's like
things we don't have to worry about in our contemporaries, right?
She's had her yearly bath and she's got her teeth. But I love reading that. Vivian LeRae, have you read her?
I have not read her, and I've heard she's wonderful.
She is so good. She's like my favorite. I'm glomming right now. And Lisa Kleypas.
Yeah, I love Lisa Kleypas.
So good. Yeah.
Mary Bellog, I love her.
It's just so many fabulous. I mean, every so often I'll read one that everybody else has read, and I didn't know that I would love it. And I'm thinking, my God, they've got like 40 books.
Yeah, like Julianne Long. I think we talked about her a few times ago, and I think you read her.
I think that she had the princess one, didn't she?
She has the boarding house.
Because I just finished one, just within 6 months maybe, because that's what I plow through,